You know that feeling, right? That sensation when it seems like everything, absolutely everything, is going wrong. Your alarm doesn't go off, you spill coffee down your shirt, and then you hit every single red light on your way to a crucial meeting. Yet, amidst all this, there's often that one person who remains cool as a cucumber, unfazed by the chaos. That, in essence, is the spirit of Stoicism. It's not some dusty, forgotten philosophy, it's a practical, powerful toolkit designed for the whirlwind of modern life. Think about Sarah in New York City, a driven professional in finance. Her days are a blur of demanding projects, back-to-back Zoom calls that stretch into the evening, and the unspoken pressure to project a perfect life on social media. She feels constantly on edge, like she's running a race with no finish line. Or picture David in Los Angeles, an aspiring actor stuck in the infamous gridlock on the 405. He's inching along, late for a career-changing audition, his heart pounding with anxiety as each minute ticks by. And then there's Maria in Chicago, a small business owner, diligently trying to balance her family's budget while navigating the choppy waters of economic uncertainty, feeling the immense weight of responsibility. These aren't unique struggles, they're the backdrop of so many of our lives. But what if there was a way to navigate these challenges with more grace, more calm? Consider Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor. This man faced wars that threatened his empire, devastating plagues, and constant political intrigue within his own palace. Yet, he's remembered not for the chaos he endured, but for his remarkable calmness, his profound wisdom. His secret wasn't magic, it was Stoicism. He understood that life is inherently unpredictable and often incredibly challenging. But he also knew that how we respond to these challenges is what truly defines us. Imagine harnessing that same inner strength in your everyday life, from navigating a tough conversation with your boss to managing life's completely unexpected turns. This isn't about becoming emotionless or suppressing what you feel. It's about becoming the master of your emotions, understanding them, and then choosing your response wisely. In this journey together, we'll explore 10 golden lessons from Stoicism, practical strategies tested by time, ready to be applied to your 21st century challenges. These teachings can help you turn every obstacle into an opportunity to grow stronger, more resilient, and find that calm center even when the world around you feels like a storm. So let's start by looking at where our true power lies. Lesson 1. Can't control traffic? Here's what Stoics say you can control. Living a calm life in today's chaotic, fast-paced world can often feel like an impossible dream, a truly Herculean task. Yet, one of the most foundational gems Stoicism offers us is this: focus your energy on what is truly within your power. This isn't about sticking your head in the sand and ignoring life's challenges. Far from it. It's about channeling your precious energy effectively, like a skilled archer aiming only at targets they can hit. Imagine you're Jamal in Atlanta, an ambitious project manager. He's about to give the most important presentation of his career, one that could lead to a significant promotion. He's practiced, he's prepared, he feels ready. Minutes before he's due to start, his laptop containing the presentation suddenly crashes. The screen goes black. Panic starts to rise, that cold wave of "oh no, this is a disaster." He can feel his heart rate pick up. Now, Jamal can't magically fix the dead laptop in that instant. That's outside his immediate control. He can't turn back time. He could easily spiral, letting frustration and anger take over, perhaps blaming the IT department or the brand of the laptop. But Jamal has been exploring Stoic ideas. So he takes a deep breath. He acknowledges the surge of anxiety, it's a natural reaction. But then he consciously shifts his focus. Okay, he thinks, the laptop is dead. What can I do? He remembers he saved a backup copy on a USB drive in his bag, a proactive choice he made earlier. That's within his control. He can calmly walk over to his colleague, explain the situation, and ask to borrow her laptop for the presentation. His actions and his attitude in making that request are within his control. He chooses not to waste energy on the if-onlys or the what-ifs. He focuses on his choices, his actions, and maintaining a composed attitude. This is the modern-day warrior in action, not on a battlefield with swords and shields, but in the conference rooms and daily hurdles of life, armed with their decisions. This is the core of what the Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught with his dichotomy of control. He famously said, "Some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are body, property, reputation, office, and, in a word, whatever is not of our own doing." Think about your daily routine. It's absolutely filled with decisions and actions, some small, some significant. This is where your true power lies. You can't control the fact that the freeway is jammed, or that it's suddenly pouring rain when you planned a picnic, or that someone you encounter is in a terrible mood and speaks rudely. These things are external to your direct will. But you can control how you react to the traffic. Will you fume in rage, or put on a podcast and accept the delay? You can control your response to the rained-out picnic. Will you let it ruin your day, or will you find a fun indoor alternative? You can control how you internalize or respond to that rude comment. Will you let it fester and upset you, or will you choose to let it go, recognizing it's more about them than you? Stoicism isn't about becoming a robot, devoid of feelings, or suppressing emotions until you explode. It's about recognizing those emotions when they arise, like unwelcome guests sometimes knocking loudly at your door. You acknowledge them. Ah, there's anger, or hello, sadness. You can even try to understand why they've shown up. But then you decide whether to let them barge in, ransack the place, and take over the entire house. Or you can acknowledge their presence and then politely, firmly guide them to the exit. Your emotional house, your rules. Think of your mind as a garden. You are both the gardener and the architect of this inner landscape. What you plant in it, how you tend to it, that defines the state of your garden. You can consciously plant seeds of positivity, constructive thoughts, and rational responses. You water them with thoughtful actions and consistent effort. And just as importantly, you must diligently weed out the negativity, the pointless worrying about things you can't change, the replaying of past slights, the anxious forecasting of future disasters that may never happen. This doesn't mean you turn a blind eye to life's harsh realities or pretend problems don't exist. It's about choosing the lenses through which you view these realities, focusing your efforts on constructive interpretation and action. When you consistently focus on shaping your thoughts, your judgments, and your actions, the domain that is truly yours, you begin to create a haven of calm within yourself. This inner sanctuary can remain stable regardless of the storms that might be raging outside. It's a profound shift from being a victim of circumstance to being an empowered agent in your own life. This first lesson is fundamental because it sets the stage for everything else. By clearly distinguishing what we can control from what we can't, we stop wasting our precious mental and emotional resources on futile battles. We conserve our energy for the things that truly matter and where we can actually make a difference. But, of course, life isn't just about what we can control, it's also about how we deal with the unexpected, the difficult, the downright unfortunate things that are entirely out of our hands. Life will inevitably throw its curveballs, those moments that can make us feel powerless. So, how do we handle those? Our next lesson dives into exactly that. The Stoic secret to accepting what sucks, and how this powerful mindset can help us navigate even the toughest situations. Lesson 2, Life Throws Curveballs, the Stoic secret to accepting what sucks. Acceptance, in the Stoic sense, is like a quiet superpower. It's often misunderstood as giving up or passively saying everything is perfectly fine even when it's clearly not. But that's not what the Stoics meant. Imagine yourself standing on a vast, windswept beach, the ocean churning before you. Huge waves are relentlessly crashing at your feet. You can't stop those waves, can you? Shouting at them, trying to build a sand wall against the tide, it's futile and exhausting. But what you can do is learn to surf. You can learn to ride those waves, to move with their power, to adapt. This is what Stoicism teaches us about acceptance. It's not about surrendering in defeat, it's about recognizing that some things are simply out of our hands, and instead of fighting a losing battle against them, we learn to adapt, to navigate, and to move forward with them. Think about Lena in Seattle. She's a talented software developer at a well-known tech company dedicated to her work. One Tuesday morning, completely out of the blue, she's called into a meeting and told that her position is being eliminated due to company restructuring. It's a shock. Her initial reaction is a mix of disbelief, a pang of unfairness, maybe even some anger. These are natural feelings. She could easily get stuck there, replaying the meeting in her mind, railing against the decision, feeling victimized by a force beyond her control. And for a short while, it's okay to feel those things. But Lena has been exploring Stoic philosophy. After the initial sting, she consciously shifts her perspective. She can't change the company's decision, the layoff has happened. Fighting that reality is like trying to stop those ocean waves. So, she practices acceptance. This doesn't mean she's happy about it or that she thinks it's fair. It means she acknowledges the new reality. Okay, I've been laid off. This is the situation now. This acceptance then frees up her mental energy. Instead of pouring it into frustration about what she can't change, she starts to focus on what she can do. She allows herself a day to process the news, to feel the disappointment. Then she starts updating her resume, reaching out to her professional network, researching new job opportunities. She's adapting, she's moving with the wave rather than being crushed by it. She's choosing to surf. This is the kind of wisdom Marcus Aurelius often wrote about in his meditations. He might not have been dealing with corporate layoffs or navigating LinkedIn, but the human experience of facing unexpected setbacks is timeless. He'd probably tell us that getting excessively worked up over a layoff, much like getting worked up over terrible traffic, bad weather, or a rude comment online, is like trying to command the rain to stop. It's a waste of our inner resources. Instead, we can choose how we react. It is our response that truly defines us, not the situation itself. We can be overwhelmed and bitter, or we can take a deep breath, accept the reality of what has happened, and then figure out the best next step. This power of acceptance doesn't make you passive. Paradoxically, it makes you incredibly powerful. When you stop fighting unwinnable battles against reality, you conserve your energy. You can then channel that energy into the things you can influence, your actions, your attitude, your plans for the future. You become like a resilient tree in a storm, bending with the fierce winds but not breaking, because your roots of acceptance are deep. You're actually more in control because you're not trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead, you're mastering your response to it. Each time you practice acceptance with life's curveballs, whether big or small, a spilled coffee that makes you late, a project that fails despite your best efforts, or a more significant loss, you're building that resilience muscle. It gets stronger with every challenge you meet, not with futile resistance, but with a clear-eyed acknowledgement of this is what is, followed by so, what will I do now? It's a shift from why me to what next. So, acceptance isn't about liking the bad things that happen. It's about recognizing their reality so you can deal with them effectively. It's about understanding that sometimes life just plain sucks, and that's okay. The key is not to let those sucky moments define your entire existence or derail your inner peace. By accepting what you cannot change, you free yourself to act wisely and live more peacefully. This acceptance of the external world is a monumental step. But even when we bravely face and accept what's happening out there, what about the storm that can still rage in here? Our minds can easily become a whirlwind of what-ifs, if-onlys, replaying past hurts, or anxiously jumping to future worries. Essentially, we get caught in a loop of overthinking. This constant mental chatter can be just as draining as battling external events, robbing us of the very calm we're seeking. The Stoics understood this challenge profoundly and offered a powerful practice to anchor ourselves firmly in the only moment we ever truly possess. So let's now delve into how we can stop overthinking. A Stoic guide to being present, not perfect, but truly mindfully present. Lesson 3. Stop overthinking. A Stoic guide to being present, not perfect. Mindfulness, a term that's gained immense popularity, can sometimes sound like a complex, esoteric practice reserved for monks on mountaintops. But in reality, and especially through the lens of Stoicism, it's a straightforward, profoundly practical, secret weapon for navigating the hustle and bustle of modern life. Picture this common scenario: you're caught in the whirlwind of daily tasks, your mind racing a mile a minute. One moment you're replaying a conversation from yesterday, dissecting what you should have said, and the next you're fast-forwarding to tomorrow, anxiously anticipating all the things that could go wrong. It's exhausting, isn't it? This is where the Stoics would gently whisper, pause, breathe, be here, now. The Stoic concept of prosoke, often translated as attention or mindfulness, isn't about grand, dramatic events. It's about finding the extraordinary in the ordinary, the magic in the mundane. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee, walking to your office, waiting in line at the grocery store, or just taking a breath, each moment is a fresh opportunity to anchor yourself firmly in the now. It's about being fully present in whatever you're doing, not lost in the labyrinth of past regrets or future anxieties. Let's consider Carlos in Miami. He's constantly bombarded. His phone buzzes incessantly with social media notifications, news alerts ping relentlessly, and his email inbox is an ever-growing monster. He feels scattered, his attention fragmented, his mind rarely still. He realizes this digital deluge is a major source of his stress and inability to focus. So, inspired by Stoic teachings on presence, Carlos decides to implement a small change. During his lunch break, instead of scrolling endlessly through his phone, he takes a deliberate 10-minute walk along the vibrant Miami beachfront. He consciously leaves his phone in his pocket, or even better, back at his desk. For those 10 minutes, his sole focus is on his senses: the rhythmic sound of the small waves lapping the shore, the warmth of the Florida sun on his skin, the feeling of the gentle sea breeze, the distinct smell of salt water in the air, the sensation of his feet on the pavement. He pays attention to his breath, the simple rise and fall of his chest. This isn't about achieving some mystical state of enlightenment. It's about consciously tuning into your senses. What do you actually see around you beyond a blur? What do you hear if you really listen? What can you smell or taste or feel? When you eat your next meal, try to truly taste each bite. Notice the textures and flavors instead of mindlessly consuming it while watching TV or checking emails. When you walk, feel each step, the contact of your foot with the ground. It's about turning these everyday, often automatic actions into deliberate moments of mindful engagement. And when your mind inevitably wanders, as it undoubtedly will, because that's what minds do, the practice is simply to gently, without judgment, guide it back to the present moment, back to your breath, back to your senses. It's not about achieving perfection in mindfulness, it's about persistence. Think of mindfulness as a mental muscle. The more you consciously train it by bringing your attention back again and again, the stronger and more reliable it becomes. This kind of mindfulness isn't an escape from reality, quite the opposite. It's about being more fully present in reality, engaging with it more deeply and clearly. It's about facing life's challenges, both big and small, with a calmer mind and a steadier heart. When stress inevitably knocks on your door, mindfulness is that invaluable pause, that deep breath you take before you answer. It's the ability to observe your thoughts and feelings without immediately getting swept away by them. It's recognizing that this moment, right now, this very breath you're taking, is all you truly possess. The past is gone, the future is yet to arrive. Embrace this moment, live it fully. This is the Stoic way, a path not necessarily to an easy life, but to a deeply meaningful and engaged one. Mindfulness, simple yet incredibly profound, is your tool for a more focused, calm, and present existence. By practicing being here, now, you start to quiet that relentless overthinking. You create a space between an event and your reaction to it. But being present is one thing, enduring the truly tough times, the moments that really test our mettle, is another. When life throws more than just a minor inconvenience your way, when you're genuinely feeling beaten down by significant adversity, how do you not just stay present, but also find the strength to withstand and even grow from the experience? This naturally leads us to our next lesson, focusing on how Stoics actively build that unshakable inner fortitude, or what we call resilience. Lesson 4, feeling beat down? How Stoics build unshakable resilience. We all face those moments, those hurdles in life where we find ourselves at a crossroads, questioning our very ability to endure. You've been there, haven't you? That feeling of being overwhelmed, perhaps even a bit beaten down by circumstances. Yet, even in those tough times, there's often a stirring deep within, a quiet whisper of strength that refuses to be completely silenced. That inner stirring is the seed of resilience, the Stoics' unspoken anthem ringing out clearly even amidst the chaos of our modern world. Resilience, in the Stoic sense, is about standing firm when life throws its inevitable curveballs. Not because you're somehow magically unbreakable, but because you understand how to bend, how to adapt, and critically, how not to snap under pressure. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, a man who himself endured slavery before becoming a renowned teacher, once subtly nudged us towards this understanding, not with grand, flowery words, but with a simple, profound truth. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This isn't about dismissing your struggles or pretending that pain doesn't exist. It's about recognizing that while you might not control the event itself, you absolutely have agency over your response. It's about harnessing those struggles, transforming them from roadblocks into building blocks for a stronger character. Think of resilience as your mental and emotional muscle. Just like a physical muscle, it doesn't grow stronger by avoiding effort or challenge. It grows when it's tested, when it's pushed, when it has to work to overcome resistance. Each time you face a challenge head-on, each time you navigate a difficulty with courage and thoughtfulness, you're essentially doing a rep for your resilience muscle. It's about waking up each day, acknowledging that while the world outside might be unpredictable and at times unfair, your internal reaction to it doesn't have to be. You are the artist, life is your canvas, and resilience? That's your most versatile brush, allowing you to paint over the rough patches, the setbacks, with deliberate strokes of perseverance and grit. Let's consider Priya in Boston. She's a dedicated university student, pouring hours into her studies, particularly for a crucial final exam in a subject she finds challenging. Despite her best efforts, when the results come out, she sees she's failed. It's a significant academic setback, and her initial reaction is one of deep disappointment and self-doubt. She feels beaten down. She could easily let this failure define her, to spiral into negative self-talk, or even consider giving up on her academic goals in that area. But Priya has been reading about Stoic principles. So, after allowing herself to feel the initial sting of failure, because, again, Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions, she consciously decides to view this setback not as a full stop, but as a difficult lesson. She remembers Epictetus's words. The failing grade happened, that's the external event. Now, how will she react? She decides to harness it. She analyzes what went wrong in her preparation, where her understanding was weakest. She creates a new, more focused study plan. She overcomes her hesitation and seeks help from a professor and a tutor. She approaches the retake not with a sense of dread, but with a renewed determination, viewing the initial failure as valuable, albeit painful, feedback. This is Priya actively cultivating her resilience. Now, cultivating resilience isn't a leisurely walk in the park. It's often an uphill journey, frequently peppered with moments of self-doubt, frustration, and setbacks. It's in these moments, when you're face to face with adversity, when you're tempted to give in, that you truly find your inner mettle, your true strength. You start by consciously embracing the discomfort, not shying away from it or seeking an immediate escape. It's about sitting with the difficulty for a moment, understanding it, and then deciding how to move forward constructively. So, the next time life throws one of those curveballs your way, a project at work collapses, a relationship ends, you face a health scare, try to catch it. Examine it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience, however painful, to become stronger, wiser, or more compassionate? Your resilience isn't just about surviving the storm, it's about learning to dance in the rain, to find strength even in adversity with a spirit that refuses to be permanently dampened. It's about emerging from challenges not unscathed, perhaps, but certainly more capable and more aware of your own inner power. Building this kind of unshakable resilience means you're better equipped to handle whatever life throws at you. But it's also intrinsically linked to how you process these events and decide to act. It's one thing to withstand a blow, it's another to choose your next move with wisdom and clarity. This brings us to a vital aspect of Stoic practice, the conscious and deliberate act of choosing your response rather than simply reacting on autopilot. Lesson 5. Don't just react, the Stoic power of a thoughtful response. Within your grasp, right now, you hold an incredible power, the power to shape your world, not by controlling external events, but by choosing your response to them. This is a cornerstone of Stoic teaching, a vital lesson that emphasizes how our reactions to life's hurdles, big and small, ultimately define our journey and our experience of life. As modern-day warriors navigating an increasingly fast-paced and often overwhelming world, embracing this wisdom is more crucial than ever. When you're faced with a setback, a disappointment, or even an outright insult, it's essential to realize that the situation itself isn't the master of your emotions, you are. Imagine you're the director of your own life's movie. Every scene, every plot twist presents you with a choice. How will your character react? What dialogue will they speak? What actions will they take? This isn't a passive viewing experience, you are actively scripting your role through your responses. So, when the unexpected strikes, a sudden criticism, a plan gone awry, an uncooperative colleague, the Stoic approach encourages you to take a moment. Just a brief pause. Breathe. This pause isn't a sign of weakness or indecision, on the contrary, it's the hallmark of strength, the quiet power of a sage choosing a response that elevates rather than diminishes them. Let's look at Kevin in Denver. He's a dedicated team member at his company. During a high-stakes team meeting, his boss delivers some harsh and, in Kevin's view, unfair criticism of his recent work, right in front of everyone. Kevin's initial gut impulse is a surge of heat, anger, defensiveness, embarrassment. He wants to lash out, to argue his case immediately, to point out the perceived injustice. This is the raw, unfiltered reaction. But Kevin has been working on applying Stoic principles to his daily life. In that charged moment, instead of instantly reacting, he takes that crucial pause. He feels the anger rising, acknowledges it internally. Okay, I'm feeling angry and defensive right now, but he doesn't let it hijack his response. He takes a slow, deliberate breath. This small act creates a vital space between the stimulus, the criticism, and his eventual response. Then, instead of an emotional outburst, he chooses a thoughtful approach. He calmly and professionally says something like, "Thank you for the feedback. Could you give me some specific examples so I can better understand where I fell short and how I can improve?" He's not suppressing his emotion, he's managing it. He's choosing a constructive path over a confrontational one. He's scripting his character as composed and solution-oriented rather than reactive and defensive. Harnessing this Stoic lesson isn't about becoming indifferent or pretending that things don't affect you. It's about acknowledging your feelings, anger, sadness, joy, frustration, and then consciously steering them towards constructive action and expression. You are not a leaf in the wind, helplessly tossed about by the gusts of fate or the whims of others. You are the captain of your ship. There will be storms and there will be calm waters, but you are at the helm, navigating through all of it with your chosen responses. This approach has the power to transform challenges into genuine stepping stones for growth. Feeling frustrated with a dead-end aspect of your work? Instead of just simmering in that frustration, you can channel that energy into learning a new skill that opens up other opportunities, or perhaps into creatively finding ways to improve your current situation. Experiencing the pain of heartbreak? While the sorrow is real and needs to be acknowledged, you can also choose to use that depth of emotion to connect more deeply with supportive friends, to understand yourself better, or to cultivate greater empathy for others who are suffering. By consciously choosing your response, you're not just surviving the difficult moments, you're actively crafting a narrative of resilience, growth, and wisdom. You're moving from a reactive stance where life just happens to you to a proactive one where you participate in shaping your experience of life. This doesn't mean you can control outcomes, but you can always control your effort, your attitude, and your integrity in responding to those outcomes. This power of thoughtful response is liberating. It frees you from the tyranny of immediate emotional impulses and allows your more rational, wiser self to guide your actions. It's a continuous practice, of course, not a one-time fix. There will be times you react more impulsively than you'd like. The key is to notice it, learn from it, and recommit to creating that space for a thoughtful response next time. Now, if our responses are so crucial, what fuels them? Often, it's our desires, our wants, our cravings, our ambitions. And while some desires are healthy and motivating, the Stoics had much to say about the dangers of excessive desires. This leads us perfectly into our next exploration, how learning to limit and manage these desires can dramatically reduce our stress and increase our contentment. Lesson 6, Want Less Stress? A Stoic's Guide to Kicking Excessive Desires. Have you ever found yourself chasing shadows? Tirelessly running after things, the latest gadget, a bigger house, more followers on social media, a particular status symbol, only to find that deep down, even if you get them, they don't really make you as happy or fulfilled as you thought they would. That's the insidious trap of excessive desires, a pitfall that Stoicism, a philosophy as ancient as the rolling hills yet as fresh and relevant as tomorrow's sunrise, wisely teaches us to steer clear of. This isn't about living a life devoid of joy, ambition, or nice things. It's about finding profound joy and lasting contentment in what's truly essential, in what genuinely enriches your life, rather than constantly craving more. This lesson isn't about dimming your ambitions to the point of mediocrity or settling for a life less than you're capable of. Instead, it's about refining your focus, aiming your energy and aspirations towards goals and possessions that genuinely align with your values and contribute to your well-being. When your mind is cluttered with the incessant noise of endless wants, the "I'll be happy when" syndrome, it's like trying to find a moment of peace in the middle of a raging storm. Stoicism encourages us to cut through that noise. It's not about the sheer quantity of things, achievements, or experiences in your life, but fundamentally about their quality and their impact on your inner state. Think about Chloe and Austin. She's young, vibrant, and constantly plugged into social media. Her Instagram feed is a curated stream of influencers showcasing the latest fashion trends, must-have tech gadgets, and exotic vacation spots. Chloe feels an almost constant pressure to keep up, to acquire these things, believing they're the keys to happiness and acceptance. This relentless chase leaves her feeling anxious, often inadequate, and frequently broke from trying to match an idealized online lifestyle. She realizes this cycle of desire and fleeting satisfaction is actually a major source of her stress. Then she stumbles upon Stoic teachings about desire. Inspired, Chloe decides to take action. She begins to consciously differentiate between her genuine needs and her conditioned wants, many of which are fueled by external pressures. She unsubscribes from dozens of marketing emails that constantly tempt her with new purchases. She mutes or unfollows social media accounts that leave her feeling envious rather than inspired. She even starts a gratitude jar where each day she writes down something she already possesses or a simple experience she's thankful for. Slowly, by shifting her focus from what she lacks to what she has, and by consciously curbing those excessive, externally driven desires, she begins to find a greater sense of contentment and significantly less financial stress. What truly brings you real, lasting joy? Is it the fleeting thrill of that new purchase, which often fades as soon as the next must-have item appears? Or is it something more substantial, more enduring, like the warmth of a genuine connection in a good relationship, the deep satisfaction of personal achievement after overcoming a challenge, or the simple serenity of a quiet moment to yourself? Perhaps with a good book or enjoying nature. These are the kinds of treasures that don't tarnish or become obsolete with time. The Stoics, particularly philosophers like Seneca, often wrote about wealth and desire, pointing out that true richness isn't about how much you have, but how little you need. He famously said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." By consciously limiting excessive desires, you're not actually losing out on anything meaningful. In fact, you're gaining something incredibly valuable: control over your own happiness and a greater sense of inner peace. You're detaching your well-being from the endless pursuit of external things that are often beyond your complete control or ultimately unfulfilling. So, how do you put this into practice in our consumer-driven world? Start by decluttering. And I'm not just talking about your closet or your garage, though that can be a good physical starting point. More importantly, declutter your mind from the junk of needless desires. Before you make a purchase or chase a new goal, take a breath and ask yourself, as Chloe learned to do I genuinely need this for my well-being, or do I merely want it? Will acquiring this truly make me a better, happier, or more virtuous person in a lasting way? Often, if you're honest, the answer is no. That's your cue to step back, to perhaps appreciate what you already have, or to redirect that energy towards something more meaningful. Remember, the relentless race for more can be an endless track with no true finish line. But your happiness doesn't have to be perpetually waiting at some distant point in that race. It can be found right here, right now, by choosing to live a life aligned with your true values, focusing on intrinsic worth rather than external validation. By the way, if these insights on managing desires and finding contentment are resonating with you, and if you're finding value in these Stoic lessons for a calmer life, take a moment to hit that like button. It's a simple way to help spread this timeless wisdom to others who might benefit from it, and helps our community of learning and growth expand. We appreciate your support. Limiting excessive desires isn't just about what you don't do or what you don't acquire, it's profoundly about what you do cultivate in their place. When you clear out the clutter of unnecessary wants, you create space. Space for what? Well, space for things of real value, like focusing on your character and how you live your life each day. This naturally leads us to our next core Stoic principle, the active cultivation of virtue. Lesson 7. What makes a good life? The Stoic answer is simpler than you think. In the constant juggling act of modern life, with its endless demands on our time, energy, and attention, it's easy to feel like we're just trying to keep our heads above water. We strive for success, for happiness, for comfort, but amidst all this striving, how often do we pause to consider what it truly means to live a good life, and how do we stay true to our deepest values in the process? It's a profound question, and Stoicism offers a powerful, refreshingly simple answer: be virtuous. This isn't about grand, heroic gestures performed on a public stage. It's about the small, consistent, daily acts of integrity, courage, wisdom, and self-control that shape our character and guide our actions. These virtues, timeless in their relevance, are like steadfast anchors in the often stormy seas of our hectic, distraction-filled world. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus encapsulated this beautifully when he advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This isn't just a catchy quote, it's a direct call to conscious action. It starts with a moment of self-reflection. Who do you aspire to be? What kind of person do you want to see reflected in your actions? Do you want to be someone known for their honesty, their fairness, their resilience, their kindness? Once you have a clearer vision of this aspired to self, the next crucial step is to align your daily actions, your choices, and your behaviors with this vision. If you seek calmness, then strive to act calmly and rationally in trying situations. If you value courage, then practice standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult or unpopular. It is your actions, day in and day out, that truly define you, not your circumstances or your fleeting emotions. Let's imagine Raj in San Francisco, a talented software engineer working at a fast-paced tech startup. He's part of a team racing to meet a critical product launch deadline. While running some final tests, Raj discovers a significant bug, a flaw in the code that could cause serious problems for users and potentially delay the entire launch. His immediate thought might be a wave of anxiety. This is bad news. He knows his manager and the team are under immense pressure. He could, perhaps, try to quickly patch it in a superficial way, hoping no one notices the deeper issue until after the launch. He could downplay its severity. These options might offer temporary relief from a difficult conversation. But Raj has been thinking about what it means to live and work with integrity, a core Stoic virtue. He considers what a virtuous person, the person he aspires to be, would do in this situation. He chooses the path of virtue. He immediately informs his manager about the bug, that's courage and honesty. He explains the potential impact clearly and objectively without trying to hide or minimize it, that's wisdom and clarity. And then he proactively proposes a focused plan to fix the bug properly, even if it means working extra hours, that's self-control, diligence, and a sense of responsibility, all facets of virtue. In that moment, Raj isn't just fixing code, he's building his character. He's choosing integrity over expediency. By practicing these core Stoic virtues, wisdom, understanding what is good, bad, and indifferent, and making sound judgments, justice, treating others with fairness and respect, fulfilling our duties, courage, facing fear, pain, or adversity with fortitude, and temperance, moderation, self-control, and discipline in your daily life, you begin to build a veritable fortress of calm and integrity around you. This isn't just for navigating the big, dramatic challenges, but for handling the everyday hurdles, the minor annoyances, and the complex ethical decisions that constantly arise. This Stoic path is intensely practical and incredibly relevant even in our buzzing, digital age. It's about making deliberate choices. When the world around you seems to be rushing, urging you towards impulsive action or immediate gratification, virtue calls you to pause, to reflect, to consider the wiser, more principled course. When anger or frustration knock at your door, as they inevitably will, you can choose to welcome them with understanding, acknowledging their presence, but then guide your actions by reason and virtue rather than by raw emotion. It is in these countless small moments of choice that you actively practice and strengthen your Stoic virtues. Remember, this isn't about achieving some unattainable state of perfect sainthood. It's about progress, not perfection. Each day, by making a conscious effort to live these virtues, to be a little more honest, a bit braver, slightly wiser in your judgments, more disciplined in your actions, you're not just navigating life, you're mastering the art of a serene and meaningful existence. One deliberate step at a time. This commitment to virtue, to being the best version of yourself you can be, becomes the bedrock of a truly good life. Living virtuously provides a stable inner compass. But even with the best character, life itself is in constant flux. How does a virtuous person navigate a world where everything is always changing, where nothing stays the same? This brings us to another key Stoic insight, understanding and embracing the fundamentally transitory nature of life itself. Lesson 8, is change stressing you out? A Stoic view on life's ups and downs. You know how it is, the world doesn't just stop spinning when we face personal challenges, nor does it pause when things are going exceptionally well. Life, in all its beautiful and bewildering unpredictability, is constantly in motion. Jobs change, relationships evolve, loved ones come and go, our health fluctuates, and even the cities we live in transform around us. Embracing this fundamentally transitory nature of life is a vital Stoic lesson, one that helps keep us anchored in reality, especially when the tides of change get rough and threaten to pull us under. To the Stoics, understanding that everything is impermanent isn't a reason for despair or nihilism. Quite the contrary, it's a powerful call to action. It urges us to live fully and appreciate the now, to cherish the fleeting moments, and to make the most out of every situation, knowing that it, too, will pass. It's about recognizing that change isn't just an occasional disruption to a normally stable life. Change is the only constant. So, the wise approach isn't to rigidly resist it or to desperately cling to how things used to be. Instead, it's about learning to, as the saying goes, dance in the rain rather than just waiting for the storm to pass, because another storm, or a different kind of weather, is always on its way. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who faced constant upheaval, mused profoundly on this theme in his Meditations. He wrote, "Time is like a river, a violent current of events, glimpsed once and already carried past us, and another follows and is gone." This vivid metaphor perfectly encapsulates the Stoic view on life's fleeting nature. It's a stark but liberating reminder that our time here is limited. Therefore, instead of getting bogged down dwelling on past glories or past hurts that we can no longer change, or fretting excessively about future uncertainties that may never materialize, our primary focus should always be on the present moment. This is where life is actually happening. What matters most is how we use the precious time we have right now. Think about Fatima in Houston. She's an avid reader and has a favorite local, independent bookstore that she's been frequenting for years. It's her happy place, a constant in her life, filled with familiar sights, sounds, and the comforting smell of old paper. One day, she sees a sign, "The bookstore is closing down permanently." Her initial reaction is a wave of sadness and a sense of genuine loss. This place held memories. It was part of her routine, her community. She feels upset that this beloved fixture is disappearing. She could easily get stuck in lamenting this change, feeling like something irreplaceable is being taken away. But Fatima has been exploring Stoic perspectives on impermanence. She allows herself to feel the sadness. That's a natural response to loss. But then she consciously shifts her focus. She remembers the Stoic teaching about cherishing fleeting moments. So, instead of just mourning its closure, she makes a point to visit the bookstore a few more times to soak in the atmosphere, to thank the owner for all the years of joy it brought her. She reflects on all the good memories and wonderful books she discovered there, appreciating them as precious past experiences rather than lamenting their cessation. Then, looking forward, she decides to actively seek out and support another local independent bookstore in her area. She's acknowledging the change, honoring the past, and adapting to the new reality by finding a new way to engage with her passion. She's not fighting the current of the river, she's navigating it. This understanding doesn't mean we neglect planning for the future or learning from the past. Of course not. The Stoics were very practical. It means we do so with the keen awareness that our plans can be disrupted, that things can change in an instant. It's about finding a healthy balance, preparing thoughtfully for tomorrow while living fully and mindfully today. So, reflect on how this understanding of impermanence can transform your approach to everyday life. Instead of desperately clinging to past glories that are now just memories or anxiously fretting over a multitude of future what-ifs, try to bring your focus back to the present. The present is the only time when you can truly act, learn, experience, and make a difference. The past is a collection of lessons and memories. The future is a realm of possibilities and plans, but the present, this very moment, is real, tangible, and alive. By truly accepting the transitory nature of life, you cultivate a kind of inner peace that isn't easily shaken by life's inevitable shifts and turns. This isn't about emotional detachment or a cold indifference to the world. It's about finding a profound stability within yourself, a calm center that holds steady even when the world around you is in flux. It's a powerful reminder that though the external world may constantly change, your ability to remain composed, to adapt, and to act virtuously can remain a constant, a beacon of serenity in a sea of perpetual change. When we truly grasp that everything is temporary, it can lead to a deeper appreciation for what we have right now. This sense of appreciation for the good and even for the lessons in the challenging is what our next Stoic lesson is all about, the often overlooked but incredibly potent value of gratitude. Lesson 9, the overlooked habit for happiness, a Stoic take on gratitude. In the constant whirlwind of modern life, it's all too easy to get caught up in a cycle of desires and disappointments. We're often so focused on what we don't have, what's going wrong, or what we're striving for next, that we can completely overlook the sheer wonder and abundance already present in our existence. Yet, there's a bright Stoic beacon that has the power to cut through this pervasive haze of discontent, a principle that the great Stoic sage Seneca firmly believed in and wrote about extensively, the profound, transformative power of gratitude. This isn't just about mechanically saying thank you for the big wins or major blessings in life. It's about cultivating a deeper, more consistent practice of recognizing and appreciating the small, everyday miracles, the simple joys, and even the hidden lessons that we so often take for granted. This powerful lesson from Stoicism isn't merely a philosophical nicety, it's an eminently practical tool. Practicing gratitude sharpens our focus on what truly matters, shifting our perspective from a mindset of lack to one of abundance regardless of our external circumstances. Seneca taught that gratitude isn't a passive feeling that simply washes over us when good things happen. Rather, it's an active, conscious engagement with the world around us and within us. It's a choice we make, a lens through which we decide to view our experiences. It's relatively easy to feel grateful when life is flowing smoothly, when our plans are succeeding, and when good fortune smiles upon us. The real challenge, and perhaps the truest test of our gratitude practice, lies in finding reasons to be thankful even when things don't go our way, when we face setbacks, or when life feels particularly difficult. This is where Stoic gratitude truly shines. It's about learning to notice the unexpected beauty in a rain-soaked day that forces you to slow down. It's about appreciating the valuable lesson embedded within a failed endeavor, a lesson that might pave the way for future success. It's about being thankful for the strength you discover within yourself when navigating a tough time. By intentionally shifting our perspective to appreciate the full spectrum of our experiences, the good, the challenging, and the lessons learned from both, we cultivate a more resilient, joyful, and stable heart. Consider Michael in Philadelphia. He's a dedicated high school teacher, and some days are incredibly rewarding, while others are just plain tough. He's just had a particularly frustrating Friday where nothing seemed to go right. His technology glitched during a key lesson, a couple of students were disruptive, and he got stuck in terrible traffic on the way home, feeling drained and disheartened. It would be easy for him to let that negativity overshadow his entire evening. However, Michael has been trying to incorporate a simple gratitude practice into his routine, inspired by Stoic teachings. So, before going to bed, despite feeling weary from the day's frustrations, he takes out a small notebook. He makes it a point to write down 3 specific things from that very day for which he is genuinely grateful. On this tough day, perhaps he writes, 1. Grateful for Maria's insightful question in 3rd period. It showed she was really thinking. 2. Thankful for that supportive text message from my colleague during lunch. 3. Appreciated that my old car started without any issues this morning, getting me to work. These aren't earth-shattering events, but actively recalling and acknowledging these small positives helps to reframe his perception of the day. It doesn't erase the frustrations, but it balances the scale, preventing the negatives from completely eclipsing the good. This simple act helps shift his mood and cultivate a sense of peace before sleep. This Stoic practice of gratitude does more than just brighten our mood in the short term. It fundamentally transforms challenges into opportunities for growth, wisdom, and deeper self-understanding. Seneca once wisely said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This beautifully echoes the Stoic call to embrace the now with a heart full of gratitude. The trick, as Michael discovered, is often to start small. Make a conscious effort to notice the simple, often overlooked joys, the warmth of the sun on your skin during a brief walk, the genuine smile of a stranger you pass on the street, the comfort of your favorite old sweater, the taste of a perfectly brewed cup of coffee, or the melody of a song that lifts your spirits. By consistently acknowledging these simple joys, these everyday gifts, we build a robust habit of gratitude. This habit becomes like a protective shield, fortifying us against life's inevitable storms and disappointments. It cultivates a wellspring of peace and contentment deep within ourselves, a kind of happiness that isn't dependent on external circumstances constantly being perfect. When you are rooted in gratitude, your sense of well-being becomes far less vulnerable to the whims of fortune. This deep appreciation for what is, for the lessons learned, and for the journey itself, doesn't mean we become complacent. In fact, a grateful heart is often a motivated heart, eager to make the most of the life we've been given. This leads us to our final Stoic lesson for today, which is all about the importance of continuous self-improvement and embracing challenges as catalysts for our ongoing development. Lesson 10. Never stop evolving, the Stoic path to lifelong growth. Challenges, my friend, are often the unwelcome yet utterly inevitable guests in our lives. They can barge in unannounced, uninvited, and are frequently unappreciated, at least in the moment they arrive. Yet, these very challenges, these difficulties and setbacks carry with them a hidden gift, the profound opportunity for immense personal growth and evolution. Stoicism doesn't teach us to merely endure these moments with grim resignation, nor does it suggest we should seek them out masochistically. Instead, it teaches us to embrace these challenging moments with the vigor and proactive mindset of a warrior, understanding that it is precisely in these battles with life's uncertainties, in these crucibles of adversity, that we forge our true strength, deepen our wisdom, and refine our character. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, ever practical and to the point, posed a powerful question: who then is invincible? The one who cannot be upset by anything outside their reasoned choice. This timeless insight serves as a compass on our lifelong journey of self-improvement. It gently but firmly nudges us to consistently focus our energy on our internal world, our choices, our judgments, our responses, our principles, rather than becoming overly agitated or derailed by external events which are, by their very nature, often beyond our complete control. The true mark of growth from a Stoic perspective is found not necessarily in the magnitude or absence of challenges we face, but in the manner in which we choose to respond to them. It's about those small, often unseen, daily decisions that incrementally shape our character and, ultimately, our destiny. In these seemingly mundane choices, these consistent efforts to act with virtue and reason, we lay the enduring foundation of a resilient and robust character, a living testament to our commitment to personal evolution. Consider Isabel in New Orleans. She's an aspiring chef passionate about Creole cuisine, and she's poured her heart and soul into developing a new signature dish. She gets an opportunity to showcase it at a local food festival, a big chance for exposure. After much anticipation, a respected local food critic tastes her dish and provides some rather direct, critical feedback. It isn't glowing praise, it points out several flaws. Isabel's initial reaction is a knot in her stomach, disappointment, maybe a touch of defensiveness. It's never easy to hear criticism of something you've worked so hard on. She could dismiss the feedback, tell herself the critic doesn't know what they're talking about, or let it crush her confidence. But Isabel has been internalizing Stoic ideas about growth. She takes a moment, acknowledges her initial emotional reaction, and then consciously decides to view this criticism not as a personal attack, but as a valuable, if difficult to hear, learning opportunity. She remembers that challenges are gifts. Instead of getting defensive, she approaches the critic later, thanks them for their honesty, and asks for more detailed suggestions on how the dish could be improved. She listens with an open mind, takes notes, and then goes back to her kitchen not defeated, but re-energized. She experiments with the recipe, adjusts seasonings, refines techniques, and uses the critical feedback as a guide. Ultimately, her dish becomes significantly better, and she grows as a chef, more resilient and more skilled because she chose to embrace the challenge rather than shrink from it. Our journey of learning and growing is intensely personal. It's unique to each of us and cannot and should not be endlessly compared to another's path. Each step, each stumble, each lesson learned is ours to own, to integrate, and to build upon. We grow not just by passively reading philosophical texts or contemplating abstract ideas, though those can be valuable starting points. We truly grow in the Stoic sense by living, by actively engaging with the world around us, by putting our beliefs and values to the test against the often harsh realities of life, by learning from our mistakes, and by consistently striving to do better next time. This is the very essence of modern Stoicism, a practical, hands-on, lived approach to wisdom. It's about rolling up your sleeves and diving into the inherent messiness of life, armed with your principles and knowing that even in the chaos, even in the failures, lies the potent opportunity to emerge stronger, wiser, and more authentically yourself. Embrace your unique journey with a heart full of courage and a mind wide open to the lessons that await you at every turn. This commitment to lifelong learning and growing isn't about reaching some final destination of perfection. It's about the ongoing process of becoming, of evolving, of continually striving to close the gap between who you are and who you aspire to be. These 10 lessons we've explored, deeply steeped in ancient Stoic philosophy, are not just interesting ideas, they are practical tools. And like any tools, their value comes from being used. They offer a comprehensive guide to navigating life's myriad distractions and uncertainties with a greater sense of calm, purpose, and composure. Which brings us to our final thoughts on how to weave these principles into the fabric of your daily life. So, there you have it, 10 powerful lessons drawn from the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, each one a practical tool designed to help you navigate the complexities of modern life with greater calm, resilience, and clarity. From understanding what you can truly control to accepting what you cannot, from practicing mindfulness in the present moment to building unshakable resilience in the face of adversity, from choosing your responses thoughtfully to limiting those excessive desires that so often lead to discontent, from committing to live a life of virtue to embracing the transitory nature of all things, from cultivating a deep sense of gratitude to embracing a path of lifelong learning and growth. These principles are not just abstract philosophies. They form a comprehensive, interconnected toolkit for a more serene and meaningful existence. Think of these lessons as building blocks. You don't have to master all of them overnight. True, lasting calm isn't a destination you suddenly arrive at. It's a state of being that is mindfully and consistently cultivated from within. Start small. Perhaps one lesson resonated with you more deeply today. Maybe it's the idea of focusing on your response rather than the event, or perhaps it's the practice of daily gratitude. Pick one or two to consciously integrate into your life this week. Notice the small shifts, the moments where you feel a little more centered, a little less reactive. Remember Sarah in NYC, David in LA, and Maria in Chicago, each facing their unique modern pressures? The wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca offers them, and all of us, a pathway through that stress, not by changing the world outside, but by fortifying the world within. The power to transform your experience of life doesn't lie in eliminating all challenges, because challenges are inevitable. It lies in how you choose to meet them. The journey to inner calm and Stoic wisdom is an ongoing one, a daily practice. Be patient with yourself, be persistent in your efforts. Each small step you take, applying these principles to your everyday situations, builds momentum and strengthens your inner citadel. If these insights have been valuable to you and you're keen to continue exploring practical Stoic wisdom to enhance your life, please consider liking this video. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss our future explorations, and be sure to subscribe to our channel, Stoic VIVU. We're building a community here dedicated to applying these ancient teachings to modern challenges, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Share this video with anyone you think might benefit from a dose of Stoic calm. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Stay stoic, stay connected, and remember, you have the tools. Start building that inner calm today.